In our last two vlogs, we flew into Dar es Salaam, explored the streets, met amazing people, danced with the Maasai, and camped under wild skies. But the journey isn't over yet. This is part 3 of our safari adventure, and today we are heading into one of the most jaw-dropping places on earth, Ngorongoro Crater, where the wild lives in a world of its own. Early morning light stretched over the Serengeti as we packed up and hit the road. Our next stop, the legendary Ngorongoro Crater. The ride was quiet, a mix of anticipation and sleep still in our eyes, the kind of silence only nature can fill. It was our final morning in this wild stretch of earth, so we made a few last stops for photos along the way. Just us, the open plains, and a quiet goodbye to the land that gave us so much. As the landscape slowly changed, we knew we were heading somewhere special. On our way to the crater, we saw something tall and unexpected that caught our eyes in the distance. An ostrich, striding solo through the golden grass, unbothered by the world around it. We hoped this was just a preview, because once we descend into the crater, we are entering a world packed with life, and maybe we'll get lucky with a closer look. The road toward Ngorongoro twisted through hills and highlands, and then suddenly, there it was. The first glimpse of the crater, just peeking out beside us. Sunlight spilled across its rim. It looked both real and unreal, beautiful, vast, and quietly mysterious. After a long drive from the Serengeti, we made it to Ngorongoro just before dark. Now it's early morning, the sky is pale, the air is cold and quiet. This is our camp near Ngorongoro Crater. Peaceful, remote, and surrounded by the wild. There is something surreal about waking up in a place like this, where the world hasn't changed in thousands of years. This was our first time visiting Ngorongoro Conservation Area, and the day started with a quiet kind of excitement. The road climbed higher, the air turned colder, and soon we were surrounded by thick morning mist. We stopped at a viewpoint to take in the famous Ngorongoro crater, but it was hidden. All we saw was a sea of white clouds wrapped around the rim, like a secret being kept. We couldn't see the crater yet, but somehow that made it even more magical. It felt like the land was holding its breath, waiting for the right moment to show us what lived below. Still, just standing there on the rim of a 3 million-year-old collapsed volcano felt like we were on the edge of the earth. Driving along the rim of the Ngorongoro crater was an adventure on its own. The road was narrow, carved high along the edge, with steep drops just a few feet away. Every turn came with a view and a heartbeat. Passing other vehicles on these tight bends felt like a real test of trust in our driver and guide Samueli and our brakes. But up here, you could feel the scale of it all, how massive, ancient, and untamed this place really is. Ngorongoro crater was formed when a massive volcano erupted and collapsed on itself, leaving behind the largest unbroken caldera in the world. Today, it's a natural sanctuary, home to over 25,000 animals, all living inside the crater walls like a hidden kingdom. Lions, elephants, flamingos, hyenas, buffalo, and even endangered black rhinos roam this prehistoric bowl of life. It's a place where the wild thrives as it always has, protected by time, terrain, and tradition. As we began our descent into the Ngorongoro crater, the view shifted from rim to reality. What once looked like a distant dream was now all around us. Endless plains stretched in every direction, wide open savanna, dotted with life and soaked in silence. Being inside the crater felt like standing in the heart of something ancient. The walls around us carved like a fortress, guarding this lost world where nature still lives by its own rules. As we were appreciating the beauty of the crater, our guide suddenly pointed into the distance. At first, we saw nothing but tall golden grass swaying in the wind. Then, there they were, two lionesses, barely visible, crouched low and perfectly still. Their coats blended so seamlessly with the savanna, it felt like the land itself was alive and watching. No movement, no sound, just power waiting in the grass. We kept our distance, quietly watching the lionesses melt into the landscape. Then, out of the silence, another safari jeep appeared, much closer to them than we were allowed to go. For a moment, we were surprised, but our guide explained it was a research vehicle. They are allowed special access to study the lions up close, part of the ongoing efforts to protect and understand wildlife inside the crater. Even from afar, it felt like a privilege just to witness them, wild, calm, and completely in control of their world. We were still quietly observing when one of the lionesses made her move. She casually walked straight towards the research vehicle nearby. We leaned in, excited and wide-eyed, wondering what would happen next. It was hard not to imagine what the driver inside must have been feeling, having a full-grown lioness just feet away, staring, silent and wild. But she didn't seem bothered. She stopped next to the jeep, stretched out and just chilled. No drama, just confidence, like she owned the land. Because honestly, she does. Both lionesses, the queens, sat side by side, calm and composed, soaking in the morning light like it belonged to them. They weren't hunting, just watching, owning the moment, as if the savannah was their throne. And just when we thought the scene couldn't get any better, our guide pointed out a third lioness. We had missed her completely. She was lying so low in the grass, perfectly hidden, almost invisible. 3 powerful predators, completely at ease. We could have stayed there for hours, just watching them breathe, blink, exist. But the crater had more stories waiting, so we moved on, not knowing what we'd see next. As we continued deeper into the crater, the mood shifted from quiet power to delicate beauty. In the distance, we saw a soft pink line stretching across the shallow water. Flamingos, hundreds of them, standing gracefully in the lake, their reflections dancing in the light breeze. It was peaceful, surreal even. The flamingos were dipping their long, elegant necks into the water. Their movements were slow, almost like a dance, as they shifted through the shallows for food. With every dip, ripples spread gently across the lake. It was peaceful, mesmerizing, like watching nature breathe. Among the flock, something caught our eye. 2 flamingos, facing each other, necks curved like a heart, gently touching beaks. It looked like a kiss, soft, delicate, and completely in sync. In a place filled with wild power, this was a quiet moment of grace. Just as we were leaving the flamingos behind, we spotted some large, unusual-looking birds off in the distance. We barely had time to get a closer look. Scene changed again. Zebras everywhere. They appeared out of nowhere, surrounding our vehicle. Just when we thought things couldn't get better, 2 zebras decided it was time for a show. Right in front of us, They dropped to the ground and started rolling back and forth in the grass. Legs up, twisting, kicking, like they didn't have a care in the world. Dust flew everywhere, and for a second, it looked more like a dog having the time of his life than a wild animal on the savannah. It was unexpected, hilarious. Still laughing from the zebra's grass rolling performance, we continued our drive, not knowing what we would stumble across next. And there it was, tall, elegant, and slightly awkward, an ostrich. It moved with a kind of slow confidence, its long neck swaying gently as it strolled across the open plains. A little farther down the road, the action slowed down again. We spotted 3 hyenas sprawled out in the grass, deep in their afternoon nap. They barely moved, just lifted their heads slightly, giving us that classic, "You woke me up for this?" kind of look. Sleepy, scruffy, and not at all bothered by our presence. They flopped right back down like it was just another lazy day in the crater. And then it happened. The one moment we had dreamt about long before this trip even began. Tucked into the shade of a thick bush, we spotted a pride of lions. At first, it was hard to tell how many were there. They were so still, so perfectly hidden, blending with the golden grass. But then we saw it. A young lion cub nestled safely among 3 lionesses. They didn't even bother getting up, just raised their heads slightly, watching us with calm, heavy eyes, their bodies half lifted from the earth, protective, powerful, at peace. It was quiet, raw, and deeply humbling. This was the magic we came for. Still trying to process what we had just witnessed. A moment most only dream of. We slowly drove on, our minds still back with the pride. And just like that, the wild shifted again. Ahead of us, a fox was digging furiously into the earth, kicking up dust like it was racing time itself. Nearby, gazelles roamed freely, light on their feet, effortlessly graceful, as if they had no idea a lion's pride rested just over their reach. The crater is full of these contrasts, stillness and motion, danger and calm, beauty in every unpredictable turn. As the sun dipped lower over the crater, our game drive came to an end. We started driving back early as we were heading towards Fanaka Safari Lodge. We rested well. Tomorrow is our final day on safari, and we are heading to Tarangire National Park. One last chapter awaits, and we can't wait to show you how this story ended. If you haven't seen the first two parts of our safari adventure, go check them out. From the streets of Dar es Salaam to the wild plains of Serengeti, it's all leading here. And don't go anywhere, our final chapter is coming next as we head to Tarangire for one last day in the wild. Subscribe, stay with us, and let's finish this journey together.